Hello and welcome back to the Rangers Women's Supporters Group podcast. We've had a wee break. Alan's actually still on a break. He's over supporting Scotland and Germany, so he's having a good time, I would imagine. But Cara and I are here to run through all the latest news for the past few weeks. It feels like it's been absolutely ages, but it's only really been a few weeks, hasn't it?
It does. It feels like forever. It feels like months.
It's literally only been a few weeks, but here we are. So there's obviously a lot been going on. There's been players coming and going, but I think we just need to rip the band-aid off, Car, and just go straight to the outgoings, which we don't really want to talk about because we didn't want them to happen, but here we are. So the first one that was a big shock was Rachel Rowe is no longer. She's away to Southampton.
Honestly, I don't even understand it. I thought she'd got the bug, she'd fall in love with the club, that she would be here for a good few years, go and win it all. But in her statement, she said she was homesick, so obviously wanted something a bit closer to Wales to be near her family, which I understand. I get that, but it doesn't hurt any less when she came in, tore it up, and opposing players hate playing against her because she was that good, and we've gone and lost her after one season.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, that other teams or their rivals mostly are going to look and go, that's great news. It's like a signing for them, the fact that she's actually left, because she was that good. And as we've said previously, it was the last season that she would pull us back into games, and she was like the kind of talisman when the strikers want to score, and she would just drag us back into games. So it's just such a shock that obviously she's away. But our loss is Southampton's gain. It's not quite home as we were thinking, but it's probably a bit closer than what we were expecting. What obviously it is up here, but yeah, just that's a sore one, to be honest.
It's brutal. I really did not expect that at all. I genuinely thought she's brand new. She's in with Rio. They'll get a contract when Rio got her contract. Then I assumed the same thing would be for her. She got a 2-year deal or something, and then that came out and it hit me like a brick. Honestly, just did not expect it at all. And I get that she wants to be closer to home, but Southampton, in my opinion, is not. I mean, it's 2 hours or so, but I guess it's closer. But fair play to her. She's done what she wanted to do. That's fine. And Nick's lost another best friend, so she's going to have to make a new best friend with one of the incoming players.
The story for the team is don't become best friends with Nick because you end up leaving.
Pretty much it.
So poor Nick. I'm sure she'll find a new best friend soon. But as if one Rachel wasn't bad enough, the other Rachel has upped her life, which is probably even more of a shock, dare I say it. We did not see Rachel McLaughlin leaving at all. As yet, we don't know where she's went, but she's leaving and shocked. Everybody's shocked. You look on social media and it's like the amount of people that have actually replied to the Ranger account to their social media has been like, why she left? Why she left? And we're like, we don't know. We never seen it coming either. So yeah, this one really hurts, Scar.
It ruined my holiday, and I'm not even joking. It was the second last day. I was we'd taken the dogs, and my mum and dad had gone out for lunch, and we just sat there, and it came up on my phone, and I just went inside, and I just kind of sat there for a minute and had a wee cry, because I was honestly so gutted. Everyone knows how much I love Rachel. Such a good player, scores wonderful goals, great person all round. But the longer it took for her anything to be announced, I kept thinking, nah, she's going to go. And I kept saying to you, there's no way, there's no chance she's leaving. Why would she leave? And then it happened, and we were all just like, what? It makes no sense. She's obviously got a good offer somewhere. We don't know what it is yet, assuming down south or maybe abroad or something. I don't know, but just absolutely heartbreaking. And we're gonna have nobody to vote for player of the match now, because it was Rachel Rowe or Rachel McLaughlin. So hopefully one of the new players steps up and picks it up so we can vote for them all the time. But absolutely heartbroken, to be honest. I messaged her that and she was like, I'm heartbroken too, but I need to do it. And to be fair, she completed Scottish football. She won everything with Glasgow City. She's won everything here, other than the Champions League, but we've only been in it once. So, I get it, but it'll be interesting to see where she goes, and hopefully not too far for her poor mum that's just moved to Glasgow to now have to uproot again to maybe go and move wherever she's gone.
Yeah, that's, as you say, she's completed Scottish football, not even just with us in Glasgow City. She won with Hibs before that as well, when they were winning with cups and whatnot. So she's won everything probably several times over. So can understand that she wants a new challenge and that, but you'd think whoever's been back in the Champions League would have got maybe one more season, but obviously not meant to be. And we did kind of have the suspicions because despite not getting information regularly for the club, she was one that when she was announced for her contract extension, it was 2024 that it was up. So we were
Yeah.
like, we know our contract's up. So where's our new contract?
Yeah.
Announced yet. And you could see on like Instagram and stuff, she's on holiday, and you think, oh, maybe when she comes back, they're just going to like wait till she comes back, and then no, it was the complete opposite of what we wanted. But yeah, it's football. These things
I
happen,
know.
but you don't want the players that you pick as your favourite, and then you're like, this is my favourite. Here we go, player of the match every week, and then they just go. But she's been absolutely fantastic for us, and what a way to end if she's good with that last goal that she scored in the cup final, winning a cup, go out with a bang, I suppose.
Yeah, she has. She's done it all, hasn't she? And she deserves to go and, have a career somewhere else. I'm sure she didn't envision staying in Scotland forever. She's got an offer somewhere else. Hopefully it's not in Scotland, because if we're saying all this and then it is another Scottish team, I'll be raging, by the way. So I hope not. But, I mean, she's done it all. She deserves the accolades because she is that good. And she's still kind of young enough that she's got the chance to go and explore, elsewhere. So take that chance while you've got it, I suppose. But she obviously loved being at the club and everything. So it's just heartbreaking for everyone.
And also that's Kirsty Howitt's best friend gone after Sam and her going. So also don't befriend Kirsty Howitt but leave as well. So maybe Nick and Kirsty can become best friends. There we
Yeah.
go. That's the problem. So obviously the two Rachel's going were the biggest shock. Probably not as surprising as a couple of the youngsters going. Both Jenna Ferguson and Georgia Gray have went to Partick Thistle. Jenna obviously going there on loan last year and doing quite well. And then Georgia Gray is just back for an ACL. Probably wasn't going to force her way in with the players that we've got now. So good for them to go and get experience. And Partick's obviously kind of on the up. So it's a good move for the two of them. Plus they know each other, so it's somebody familiar for them to kind of go and buddy up with Partick.
Yeah, they've obviously managed to sell them the idea with Ross being there. They kind of went up through the academy with Ross. So I think they can understand what he's about. So I guess that kind of helps. I would have liked to see Georgia Gray. I'm kind of interested in her. And then obviously she got the injury, so we didn't really see much of her. Jenna, I didn't see that much of either, but seemed to do quite well at Partick. So they've obviously liked what they saw. And it's difficult for youngsters to break into the first team unless you're an NA or, one of those players that really does have what's got to push their way into it. So with the players they brought in as well, I didn't really see them getting many minutes either. So probably good for them for their career to go and, see how they get on there. They might get bigger offers later down the line once they've kind of grown up and a bit more experience under the belt.
You never know, they might end up back at us one day once they've got the SWPL experience.
Exactly.
Easy for me to say, so off, I can't speak. With that's that bad news done, so we've got that. That was not too bad. So we did have some good news. Liv McLaughlin is sticking around. They done the little teaser video of being like, Rangers fans and all this, and then next thing, she's staying. Really good news. Happy days that she is staying, and that is definitely good news.
It's massive. To get that done is incredible. We all said that maybe another loan spell at us would be phenomenal. We'd take her on a permanent. Everyone said that. So to get it, through the door when obviously the Villa manager, she left, Carla Ward, she's leaving. So maybe there's a bit of turmoil there. So maybe she thought, I just want to come here and win everything here. She's having a great time. Young enough that she could then kick on, go to Barcelona or wherever if somebody comes in for her in a few years. So it's just massive for us to have her back in that midfield because her and Chelsea, even NA, when they're all in there together, was phenomenal. So it's a massive, massive thing having her back in. And she's just a character around the dressing room, isn't she? And even on the pitch, she's so funny. Her hair, I don't think we'll ever stop teasing her about the fact that we can see her hair and we can see it and it's fine, it looks good. So it's nice to have that with, a player that she knows what it's about, she knows what Joe's after, so she's kind of going to hit the ground running now when she comes back in for the new season.
Yeah, and it's a 2-year deal as well, so obviously with Joe signing that deal, she's kind of signing players up for the time that she's going to be there. Obviously we hope Joe then stays on after that as well, and all these players. But it shows that kind of intention again that we're signing kind of the 2 years. It's given them that good bit of time to adapt to us, and also gives us that insurance if Liv has an absolutely amazing season again next year. They're still a year in their contract, so if a team for the WSL or abroad comes in, we've got that insurance basically for they would need to buy out our contract as well.
Yeah, it's what we've been crying out for, isn't it? There's always been year contracts, 18-month contracts, and you never know where you stand with them. We lost Emma Watson that way, went for free, got nothing for her. So it's definitely something we need to get all the players tied down to kind of longer contracts. So if somebody really does want them, they either need to wait and we get the full time with them, or we get some money for them. So it's definitely something that Joe and Donald have definitely worked together to make that happen. So it's, it's going to keep us assured that we've got the player, and if not, we're getting some money in for them. It's just fantastic that we're finally doing it.
Yeah, it seems like we've got some kind of brains behind the outfit now to actually be like, right, we need to get a couple of year contracts rather than it being year to year. So that is always handy. Then the next one was Leah Eddy. We obviously seen that she'd been surprisingly released by Hibs, which was quite a shock with a few other players that were kind of surprising considering how well they'd done for Hibs, but their loss is our gain. She's a young player, obviously plays in defence, 23 years old. She played through like academy, kind of came through an academy, and for spell, she's obviously for Falkirk, so she was in the academy at Central and went to Rangers, moved to Hibs, obviously in 2018, but she's got really good SWPL experience. The kind of leadership qualities are there because she's captain in Scotland under 23s. So I think she's going to fit in really well, and that kind of backline area. I don't know if she'll be the centre back or if she'll be kind of more on the wings. I don't know. Just going to need to see how Joe kind of fits her in. But good to have a exciting Scottish talent coming in as well, because we've got obviously the ones coming through, but she's a good talent to add to the squad.
Yeah, it's as soon as she was announced from Hibs, we'd kind of sent it in the group chat. Be massive to get Eddie back in. And then Laura, being a detective, went and looked at our Instagram and all this stuff, and there was some stuff there that kind of looked like, well, maybe it was happening. We got all excited, and then I think it was the same day or the next day it was announced, so we were all absolutely buzzing that we'd worked it out. But just fantastic. She's so good in defence. Like I said, you said, I don't know if she'll be in that centre back. I don't know if Joe's going to go well 4 like she did in the first half of the cup final, and then maybe with other incomings we'll have 4 in there. And obviously we need a winger now with Rachel not being here anymore, so maybe we'll push someone out wide, then someone else out wide, and see what happens there. But massive, obviously knows 90% of the team already. She's best pals with most of them, and ex-players. She's just like one of them, so it's quite good that we've got her in. Knows the club, seems to be one of us. I don't know if she'd want that publicised, but seems to be a Rangers fan, which is always nice to have somebody that actually cares about the club that they're playing for. So absolutely massive. As you say, SWPL experience is just phenomenal to get that done. So Joe has just done exceptional work this window already.
Yeah, she's been played. I had a wee look earlier. She's been player of the year twice for Hibs. It's absolutely mental that they've actually let her go when she's literally been the player of the year like twice. She was out for a year or so with a kind of knee injury, but the fact she's been with them maybe about 4 or 5 years, been 5 years, she's been player of the year twice, but has been absolutely phenomenal for them. And then they're just like, all right, well, when you go, unless she got the deal first, and she was like, well, this needs to happen, but. It's just, you'd think they would be a player they'd be offering everything to when they're going kind of professional as well, full time. But as I say, their loss is our gain, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think it probably is the case that Rangers has spoken to her, and she was like, well, my contract's up, I'm not going to sign an extension. There's not really much Hibs can do if Rangers come calling. As much as we wanted to keep both Rachels, someone else comes in for them, they want to leave, these things happen. But definitely our gain. It was going to be very exciting next season, seeing how that plays out.
Yep, and we've then signed another defender, so we really should have known that Rachel was going, but it was still such a shock. But Laura Rafferty comes in, a bit more experienced. She's 28. She's played briefly at a few years at Chelsea, but she went out on loan to Oxford. She's been at Brighton, Bristol City, and then Southampton, who she helped get promoted, so she's got good experience winning and doing things with clubs. Obviously plays for Northern Ireland as well, has that connection to Megan Bell. She's been captain in Northern Ireland as well, so I think she kind of described herself as having been quite loud and having good leadership kind of qualities and that. So I think Nick will have competition with Laura and Chelsea shouting all over the pitch. So it'd be quite good to have somebody else in there that's quite vocal and pushing the team on.
Yeah, I mean, that was a massive signing. Did not see that coming at all. Very surprised by that, but just phenomenal signing that. You know, the way that I liked the announcement video. I actually quite liked what they did with her walking into the training centre. I did enjoy. I like it when they do something a bit creative with it, like they did with Livs. Some of them are a bit boring, but it's just like welcome. It's like, that's not very exciting, but massive. I've seen her a couple of times when watching Northern Ireland, obviously for Megan Bell. Didn't pay that much attention to her because I didn't know much about her, but it's definitely got good shooting abilities, which is quite nice to see. So whether we'll kind of play her on the wing, push her up a wee bit and use that ability with Nick on the other side, it'd be quite good to see how that plays out. But again, another massive signing. Seems to be one that likes the club. Her and her brother seem to be quite staunch, so that's always nice to get them involved. So I'm sure she didn't take much convincing to come up the road, but yeah, very excited by that. And I think the back line's pretty solid now compared to when we've had last couple of seasons. We've just had Kathy in the middle. She had injury issues. Then it was Lisa, and it wasn't great. So to have really strong defenders in there is massive for us.
Yeah, I think the funny thing is she's obviously from Southampton, but plays for Northern Ireland because her dad's from Belfast. So just so people aren't surprised when they go and speak to her, they're expecting a Northern Irish accent, and then they're like, that sounds a bit different. She's actually obviously playing for Northern Ireland because her dad's from Belfast. So, but yes, three really good signings, and we've been crying out for defenders, and obviously we've lost what like a big one in Rachel McLaughlin and a couple of the young ones, but it kind of shows up that defence which was needed. It gives us that option of playing with a couple of centre backs in a back four, or we can go to the three. So it gives us that good versatility, especially with Champions League games coming up.
Yeah, I think as well, if you remember the start of Joe's season last season, we were letting a goal just about every game, so that needs to be cut out pretty early on in the season, just to, if it goes down to the wire like it did last season, we're keeping that tight. We need to do that again, so to have those two in is going to be massive.
Yeah, so it gives us plenty of options here. I think there's probably maybe still options we could be getting coming in for, like maybe in the midfield now with Rachel Rogan and that, unless obviously Megan will be coming back, the youngsters will be coming back. So be interesting to see if we kind of get any more experience in there, or if we'll just kind of promote some of the youngsters up.
Yeah, I mean, I'd quite like Laura Berry to come back and she can play up front with Rio or Kirsty or whatever. Don't know if she'll then just cut out with it, just not play with the 10 next season and we'll just go to 3 up front, or maybe do it a different way, or maybe push Mia into that 10, but I don't really like that. I like her out wide at the top because she's better there. So be interesting to see what Joe does, but Joe's full of ideas and has a lot of knowledge, so it'll be good to see how it plays out.
Yeah, just touched on actually Laura Berry. She's probably going to have a good opportunity now that Sarah Ewens has obviously had surgery on her ankle, was it? Is it an ankle? Her knee?
Yeah.
One of the two. That she'd obviously picked up on at Scotland camp. So whether we bring somebody else in or obviously she gets kind of promoted will remain to be seen. But Becca Taylor also had surgery as well. I think it was her meniscus, she was saying. So speedy recovery to the two of them. It's no nice for any player to get injured, but I suppose if you're going to kind of get surgery over the summertime when you're not playing, then it's probably better than missing a load of football during the season. So hopefully the two of them are back up to speed fairly soon. So contract extensions, we've only had another couple of them, but I suppose they're quite good ones. Both Tess and Vic have signed year contracts, so I think Tess wasn't that big a surprise considering she does her work with the PFA and she's just done her coaching badge and that. But Vic was one that we were kind of unsure of if she was going to stay, but I think that's quite good news that she's staying, and that familiarity at the back. And obviously she done really well in the running at the end of last season, so happy with those?
Yeah, I think Tess, I'm not saying she's old because we're around the same age, but being the age she is for a footballer, maybe it's just a 1 year contract just to kind of see where she is at the end of the season, what she's doing, with her badges and the SFA and all the stuff that she's doing. Be quite interesting to see. But always nice to have Tess in there. She's very versatile, can play in the midfield, can play in the back line, but I don't see her needing to play in the back line anymore, which is quite nice because we've got two defenders in now. But Vic, very surprised by that. I was convinced she was away. She was going back to Auckland or going back to New Zealand to play for the new Auckland team, and that was that. She's always very sheepish when you ask her. She doesn't say very much. So they've obviously, with her playing a lot towards the end of the season, I think that's maybe given her a bit of confidence that she'll maybe be number one, which would be quite interesting to see. Don't know how that worked with internationals and stuff because she was away a lot with New Zealand for everything that they were in. So we'll see how that plays out. But I'm happy with that. I'm buzzing with that. Basically, half a new back line and the goalie signed up that was pretty safe hands towards the end of the season. I'm buzzing with that. And Tess, I just love Tess. So I'm just happy to have her back. And hopefully in that midfield, maybe she can play as a 10. I don't know. Maybe we'll throw her up in the 10 positions. She's very versatile. She can play anywhere.
We went from moving her back the way she was near enough to the goalkeeper, and now when you're pushing her back forward,
Yeah, she can go in the front.
yeah, she can hit a mean free kick and a good ball outside the box, so that might not be the worst thing. But yeah, because I was forgetting that Tess was always going to be back in the midfield, so yeah, we didn't need anybody else. It's fine, Joe. Enjoy your holiday. So yeah, good kind of to get the two of those. Obviously, that experience in that as well. And obviously, as you say, Vic was kind of safe hands towards last season. But it'll be interesting next summer though when both her and Jenna's contracts are up. So whether it's kind of going to be a rolling contract or whatever for Vic, but we'll just need to kind of wait and see. But good news anyway. At least we know that the kind of goalkeeping situations covered, because in the row we're thinking that we're going to need a new goalkeeper and that as well. So, yep. And other news, just kind of touching on the Scotland camp, for her, good news for her players was Jane getting her 150th cap for Scotland. Absolutely sensational considering she's had that ACL injury and that, and was probably thinking during that she wasn't sure if she was going to get back into the Scotland team, and then it's her 150th cap. I think she's about fourth or fifth on the list of women's players that have managed to reach that. So phenomenal achievement.
Yeah, it's just incredible, isn't it? Considering when they did a little montage, you look back at when she started, she's just like a wee lassie, basically, just kind of coming into it. And she's such a mainstay now. And obviously, had she not got that injury, she'd probably about 155 at this point because she always was called up. She was always basically the first name picked alongside a few others. So massive congratulations to Jane. Hopefully, she kicks on and just keeps going forever because it seems like she's got a new ACL sorted, all that's fine, and she'll just kick on this season and be an absolute baller, and we can just play her up front. She'll score a load of goals for us and Scotland.
Definitely. So, yep, congratulations to Jane for that. Also, congratulations to Chelsea getting her first international goal. And I don't think it's going to be one that she's going to be watching a lot of times. She's just kind of, I get just kind of pinged about the box and she just stuck it away, but you'll take it.
They all count. She was there when she needed to be, It's not a wonder goal, but she'll take it. She scored better goals for us, but just you can see her buzzing. She was. Everyone was buzzing. They were all celebrated with her. It was so cute. they were all just absolutely over the moon for her. But even the commentators before she scored, they were all singing her praises for how well she'd been playing those 2 or 3 games that she was playing. She was just outstanding. You can see how well she's improved. She was always a good player, but she's come on leaps and bounds the last couple of seasons, especially last season. So hopefully that she'll become a mainstay in that Scotland team and just tear it up as she has been doing.
Yeah, I think it was a nice way for her to kind of. It was weird, obviously, them having the international games after the season's ended, but I think after the season she'd had, it was a nice way for her to kind of sign off by having such a good season and then just pop up, getting your first Scotland goal, and then off you go on your holidays.
Yeah, it would have been nice if there was people there to see it, but we won't get into that.
No,
yeah, so that madness that happened. But I'm so buzzing for Chelsea. She's such a good player, and she's just seems more free now. I feel like she was very restricted in previous seasons where she was playing. She was very, you just stay there and don't bother trying to get up the pitch, don't do any of that. Now she's just wherever she wants to be and scoring goals and in amongst it. So it's buzzing for her. Can we get her on a 5-year deal?
Yeah, I think when obviously Sam was there, Sam was the one that was kind of dictating the play and stuff, and then Kirsten Riley was there, and she was kind of Chelsea was just to sit back like Kirsten do her thing, but now she's kind of flourishing, and I think she's kind of taking that leadership role for the younger ones. She's like, right, I'm the one that's going to do all this. You can just do all your wee fancy half turns and Cruyff turns and whatever, but I'll just be here like leading the way kind of thing. So yeah, she's done fantastic, and hopefully she continues that. Obviously, in the next season. Another thing we need to touch on, which doesn't particularly affect us, but it kind of affects the league, is the change in the league, which we kind of knew about for a wee while, but obviously it was officially confirmed. Was it after the season had finished up? I don't think it was.
Yeah.
We never touched on it on any podcast. It must have just been after the league kind of finished up. But going forward, I think next season's kind of fine. I think next season's maybe when it's is it 3 teams go down the next
Yeah.
season, and then the season after that it goes to a 10-team league, and then it's a top 6, is it?
Yeah, bottom 4.
Top 4, which kind of sounds a bit weird that you're kind of going for like having the top 6 and the bottom 6, but they've obviously done all their data and analysis and looked at how well the top 6 does and how competitive it is at the bottom and how playoffs are doing, whatever. So, what's your kind of take on it? Are you? I don't think it particularly affects us being one of the top teams, but it's going to affect more the kind of bottom teams, and it's quite ruthless that 3 teams are going to go down.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't bothered by it. People were so irate about it. I don't really understand, like, oh, but the bottom 4 are playing less games. Okay, like that's good. Like players want to be playing less games. There's so many injuries, there's so many issues with the volume of games that's being played, especially for say the top 2 that then have Champions League, all the cup games, cup qualifiers to get into the cup competition, all that kind of stuff. There's so many games that need to be played that we need to limit in some way, and that's obviously how they figured out. Well, that will work better if we have 2 leagues of, is it 10? Aye, 2 leagues of 10, so that it matches up. 2 automatically go down, and then there's a playoff in 9th place that then plays against the top 2 in SWPL2. It's very confusing. Go and look it up. It's fine. But I'm not that bothered by it. If it stops injuries and it stops so many problems, there's always going to be international breaks. We can't prevent that. So if the league can do something to make it a little bit easier for the players injury wise and playing volume wise, I think that's a good thing. I think Fiona's obviously with her team worked it out and thought this was the best thing for it. So one way or the other, I'm not too bothered, but I think they've done the right thing in trying to limit injuries. I think that's the best thing that they could have done.
Yeah, and I think, as you're saying, with the bottom teams playing potentially less games, which I don't think even works out particularly less games with the playoffs and that they have to play. However, the bottom teams tend to be the part-time teams who are struggling, who are already working and having to go and play football, which is obviously what they've chosen to do. But that's going to increase your chance of getting injured because they've got the stress of going to games, going to work, training, and all this kind of thing. So it's probably going to benefit them in the long run of, as you say, reducing injuries and stuff. So it's going to work out. I think it'll actually work out quite well, and I think it's people just find ways to be negative, and before something's even they've actually seen it in action, kind of thing. And I had seen people saying about you should be increasing the like leagues and stuff, but then it's going to be more games, which could lead to more injuries. So I don't know. Just wait and see how it pans out, and if they end up changing it back or making it bigger or whatever, then that's what they do. But I like they need to try something, and I think this is obviously what they've chosen to do. We'll see how it goes, but I think I'm with you. It doesn't particularly bother me that much, but I just thought we better kind of mention it since it was something that had came up. And obviously people can have their opinions and whatever, but we'll see how it goes. Obviously, into next season, I think it's um, not going to benefit, not going to be too much next season. I think just having a quick look, but it's more obviously this 25-26 season that's going to really let people get their heads around it for a season and then. flattened into 10 teams.
I mean, it's forcing the teams that are, maybe sitting 7th, 6th, they're kind of teetering that line, might give them that little bit of more incentive to be in the top 6 instead of being in the bottom 4. Because then the bottom 4 is so tight, you could go down. It's easily, you lose a couple of games, you're going down. So I think it adds a bit more competitiveness to the bottom half, which people are moaning about. Oh, the same teams always win it. It's just the top 3 and everyone else. Well, it's added a bit more of a competitive edge to it, I suppose. So it can be a good thing, maybe.
Yeah, and I think there was also rumours about like a Women's Europa League as well going to be happening eventually. So I think obviously that then pushes the kind of competitiveness in that as well, that the teams that are in that kind of third, fourth, fifth, like Glasgow City, obviously kind of being in there now, Hibs and Hearts coming up, it will push more teams to go professional in that as well, which is only going to push the competitiveness, and then it maybe makes like the Motherwells and whatever kind of push themselves on to be professional in that as well. So all these things that are happening are all to like increase the competitiveness in that of the game so that it's a better product, so that you're not watching teams get battered 9-10-0 every week, which is fun in a way sometimes. But it gets a bit stale after a while when you're like, oh, we're playing such and such a team today. We know this is going to be a load of goals and a big win. Where, as much as for the Heart, this tighter games aren't ideal. That's what you want football to be. You want it to be competitive and no demoralising for another team to get kind of steamrolled or with big score lines that didn't really benefit anybody.
No, and if they expanded the league like people were wanting, you're then going to have to bring more part-time teams up, which is just going to add to that even more because they don't have the resources, the teams, the squads to build to go and prevent that from happening. So it would just make it even worse than it already is. It just makes a farce of it sometimes when you're looking at it and it's like 14-10-9 against the same teams all the time. So it adds that little bit more to it, and hopefully then more money's put into it. With Champions League and then the Europa League hopefully happening. I don't know if the top team will get Champions League and then the second team, or if it'll be the third team gets Europa, what will happen there. But adds a little bit extra to it that, you're not playing against like the Chelsea's, Barcelona, whatever. You're getting to play against other teams that still have a chance of going quite far in it, which just brings more money into the league. So it's all good stuff.
Yeah, and I think it makes the SWPL too more competitive as well, because then there's teams battling. There's a good chance that a few of those teams are going to go up, so it's going to make them more competitive. And I think just overall, if people really sit and think about it, it's going to kind of benefit everybody in the long run.
Exactly.
We shall see, but yeah, that's kind of everything. Is there anything you wanted to bring up that that had seen or anything?
I don't think so. Other than the draw for the Champions League for who we'll face is on the 5th of July. How do we look? There's a few teams in there that I do not want. Don't give us Arsenal, please. Please. I'll take anyone else, but please don't give us Arsenal. I'd like a wee trip to Sweden or, maybe even France. That'd be quite nice, but please don't send us down to England to get absolutely trumped off Arsenal.
Unless we do a Paris and just knock them out, but I don't know. Maybe if we're still on the two Rachels, I'd be more positive.
Well, if we can get Viv Miedema to come up the road and join us, like people keep saying on Twitter, then maybe we'd be all right against them, but I don't see that happening.
Well, I don't think Viv or Fran Kirby have a club yet, so,
Jo has her ways. Jo does have her ways. She's got connections to Fran. Anyway, I don't know about Viv. But...
just actually thinking when you said France there, Lisa obviously signed a contract with St. I don't know. Whatever it is. A French team that wears green. That's all I know.
Disappointing.
Good luck to her there. Obviously, she said it's green apple, so apparently that's fine. But good luck to her. Obviously, good to see that she got a club quite soon after. Obviously, leaving us, and it's back in her homeland, so she'll probably be quite happy with that being back close to her family.
Yeah, hopefully it's a team that she'll get a lot of minutes in, and I don't know much about that league or that team, so I don't know what their situation is, if they're challenging for trophies or whatever, but hopefully she'll go and kick on and just have a good career back home in France. She loves it there, can be with her cat and her family, so she can have a great time. I just like seeing her wee videos of her wee cat. It's very cute.
Yeah, I mean, just the way you said that, we're a wee cat. And then finally, just to kind of wrap up, the fixtures will be out fairly soon for the
Next week,
SWPL,
isn't it?
which is, yeah, I'm just looking there. It's what, this week. It'll be, is it the end of this week? Something like
I don't
that.
know. I seen they tweeted, was it yesterday, 8 days till fixtures are released. So it must be next coming Saturday or something.
Yeah, so probably by next weekend or whatever we'll know. So who would you fancy as the first game?
Someone close by, please. I don't want to be trailing to Montrose or Dundee or wherever for the first game of the season, but we obviously won't be at home, so somewhere. Queen's Park. I'd take Queen's Park, fairly close. Don't know where they're playing next season right enough, if they're going to be in the Lesser Hampden or if they're in New Tinto Park where they'll be, but that's fairly close and easy to get to, so I'll take them.
Yeah, I would say the same. Like Callum was what Motherwell, but that's just because it's obviously close to him. So we'll
That's not
see.
too far. I'll take that.
We'll see. But yeah, I'll take Queen's Park. So yeah, fixtures coming out. Champions League draw happening soon, so plenty more to kind of catch up on. We'll probably do another one maybe in a couple of weeks again, see if there's any news, and we can discuss the fixtures, whatever once Alan's back for his jollies, that he's never ending jollies at this point. So, so thanks for joining me as always, Car, and we'll catch up again in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Right, speak to you all soon.